Direct from the edge of the lunatic fringe, it's the Raleigh James Show.
All right, so that said, Johnny Caudle sent me an email, and I noticed it right away because if you know the Carolinas, if you know radio or weather for that matter, tons of weather, you know Johnny Caudle. And he started an online petition to preserve WBT's transmitter site, which I think is wonderful. You know, we've talked a lot about this. It's a long shot because, of course, Urban One, they're smart. They've already said it's dedicated to housing. And, you know, there's probably a parenthetical clause there that talks about low income or something else that the community will embrace. You know how that type stuff is, some do-good deal. But regardless, I hated to be right about that. I've been saying since January, all their stunting was not about a new format, which I think their program director actually believed that. But they sold him a bill of goods. He might believe in Santa Claus, too. I don't know. But in any event, the deal is set and the property's been marketed and it's under contract. And so, but Johnny went a step further. He contacted the Charlotte Mecklenburg Historical Landmarks Department to see whether there were any preservation options. Turns out there very well may be. And there's incentive for that, too, by the way, tax incentives and other stuff like that. The department actually expressed interest in potentially acquiring the transmitter building and maybe a portion of the site. And it's interesting that Johnny had a great idea, use that for a Carolina broadcast museum, and I think that would be great. I want a beach music room. But that's the deal. And John Hancock, who you probably remember from WBT, is publicly voiced support. I've signed the petition already, and I will have it on my website. I was working on that before the show, but I can't bend time no matter how much I try. But hopefully during a commercial break, I'll get that link up. And in fact, Johnny also takes pictures of transmitter sites. So what I want to do is implore him to do something with 400 Radio Road, the Big Ways site, because Tom's and Kaplan, that was it wasn't Jefferson Pilot, okay, it didn't have that kind of deal, but it had a lot of fun, that's for sure. So I think it is absolutely worthy of recognition or preservation. And Johnny said he'd be grateful if I'd reach out to Stuart Gray or Hunter Barron. You know the deal with my call list, don't you? The only way to get off it is to die. And I know I'm terrible at this. Now, if I could call people at 4 a.m, I'd be right on it. But, I got plenty of time between, say, 3 and 5 a.m. Doesn't work like that. And that's Mountain Standard. So meanwhile, if Johnny's listening or whatever, if he can have them contact me, send me an email or something, I'll definitely find a time to put them on the air. And that's Rollye@Rollye.net. But I'm really hoping that Johnny will call because he's a lot of fun. All right, so as I say, I did sign the petition, and I think it's absolutely worthwhile. So good for him. That's so much on BT over the years. My favorite period of time was when Andy Bickle was the PD around 1970 or so. I thought that was just tremendous. And when Bob Lacey was the nighttime talk show host, Lacey Listens, I loved that too. And of course, then later they got, was it Truckin' Tom Trimble, the overnight deal? That was a few years later, 75 or so. And of course, Rockin' Ray, yeah. All right, the Sunday Night Hall of Fame show. So many things on WBT. And of course, it had that pencil-thin signal that if you were on the East Coast from Maine to Miami, you heard it at night, like a local. Of course, if you were in Gastonia, maybe not so much. Yeah, well, maybe KFAB will do something about going non-directional. We'll see. All right, so there was that. This is very exciting to me, but we will get to Ruth. But I was telling you earlier about the email I got from Johnny, and I have signed the petition, and I had said in my return email, well, call me. And how about that? He did. So, Johnny Caudle, welcome to WGN Radio.
Hi, Raleigh. How are you?
Well, better now that you've called. This is just a delight. So I am thrilled you are wanting to preserve the site and hoping that it's going to get some traction. I signed, and I will get a link up to Rollye.net. So what do you think the chances are?
Well, as far as the other parties involved, we have heard nothing from them. That's disappointing. We're not trying to stop the sale. We're not trying to tell people what they can do with their property, but I just want to have everyone come to the table and have a discussion. What can we say? What can we do? And we've heard nothing from from the broker, from Urban One, or from whoever has the property under contract. So that's disappointing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. In fact, when I hated to be right about this, but in January I said, "Hey, this is about selling that transmitter land." And in your note to me, you mentioned that the program director told you in February that it wasn't going to be sold. And man, I bet you they told him that too, and he believed it. So hard to understand why. But in any event, when you noticed, I'm sure you did, the way when they finally had somebody under contract, they talked about how it would be for quote unquote housing, the magic word. And I assume that they'll probably pull some card about this is for the community good. But that said, it's not unknown for states, counties, cities to step in and at least declare the transmitter building to be historically preserved. I think the real question is, how far does that building date back? You've taken pictures, and how much have they modified it?
It goes back to the late 90s, early 30s, when the tower transmitter site was moved there. Okay. For the directional signal. But there's a Cold War bunker in the basement of that building, and from what I understand, it is a time capsule.
Oh, that's great.
Yes,
that's absolutely. I think you've got something there. Sadly, I shed a tear when you talk about moving to that site, because I can't believe the Buick dealer sold off half the signal, and of course that led to all the problems we have today. But we've been kind of speculating whether KFAB, I doubt it because it is iHeart, but whether they would file to be non-directional now that they won't have anything on the other side of the country.
That's very much a possibility. I've heard that a religious broadcaster may be looking at 1110. I haven't been able to confirm that. And the part about housing, I actually got that from you. I haven't been able to get anyone to talk to me to tell me about what it's going to be used for.
Yeah, no, and one of the releases, that was the magic word that I underlined. And as I was saying to you, I also wish somebody would step in and preserve the history of 400 Radio Road.
Yes, that is a legendary site, the site of Big Ways back in the day, big top 40 station here in the Charlotte area. I would love to be able to save that. I feel like I've got my hands full with 1110.
Yeah.
But at least get a plaque. And I've already mentioned that to the Historic Landmarks Department that we need to do something for that site as well. And if it's nothing but a plaque, we can, of course, get a plaque, he said. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was so good. Everybody remembers the Kaplan years. But before that, the Tom's years arguably were even more colorful. So there was a lot of history there.
Right. I'm in my 40s, so it's kind of before my time.
Yes.
But I've heard all the stories about it. So.
Yeah. Well, if you can manage to get the building to be a museum, I want a beach music room.
Well, I've got John Hancock, longtime WBC announcer, on board, so hopefully we'll get some traction with it.
I would think you could probably get Bob Lacey, because when he did Lacey Listens at night on BT, it was just splendid.
I will try that. I hadn't thought about him, but I will definitely reach out and see what I can do there.
Oh, yeah, that. And he's pretty much a hermit now, but Andy Bickle still is alive and in Charlotte. So you might do a little research, and, because he was my favorite PD when BT was in its real glory years. So I'm just thrilled you're doing this. I think it's truly wonderful, and if nothing else, it's going to highlight the history of something that should not be forgotten. But let me ask you, how many people so far have signed?
I am approaching 100. I think yours was the last one, but so far. But I just launched it last night, and we were already up to near 100. So
good.
I'm pleased about that.
Excellent. Well, during this news break, I'm going to get the link up on Rollye.net, and hopefully everybody will go there and check it out. It's a worthy project. Thanks for your love of radio and for the weather information.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Call me again sometime. I'd love to hear from you.
All right. I'll keep you updated.
Yes. Thank you. All right. So how neat. Johnny Cottle made my nights.